Hi guys, I have filmed a new video for you again. Today, I present you in detail the Tamron SP 3.5 to 4.2, 28 to 80mm, Adaptall2. Thank you very much for your interest and your time. Leave me a like, subscribe to the channel and set the notification, because so you will not miss any of my new videos. I've been using this Tamron lens for various photo sessions lately. I used it on my beloved Canon F1n new, and exposed some Kodak Vision 3 films. Of course, I also show you some photos that were taken digitally on my Sony A7III. Have fun watching now. The Tamron SP 3.5 to 4.2 28 to 80mm were produced in the years 1979 to 1985. After I bought my first owned camera in early 1980, a Canon A1 with an f/d 1.8 50mm, it would be almost 3 years before I decided on a 28 to 85mm zoom from Canon. This Tamron lens presented here was on the shortlist at the time, along with the Canon lens mentioned above. Who knows, today I might have decided differently. As with most high-quality lenses of this era, this Tamron 28 to 80mm is made of metal and glass. The markings are milled and filled with paint. Thus, the lens, without the respective matching lens adapter, weighs 480 grams. Its length is 8.2 centimeters. Likewise without lens adapter, its diameter 7.0 centimeters. Screw-in filters of the size 67mm are used. As I've mentioned many times in my videos, I'm a big proponent of high-quality protective filters, be they UV, clear or skylight filters. These filters saved me a Canon 2.8, 200mm length lens, and saved one or the other front lens from sometimes nasty, deep scratches. The optical quality of this SP lens is provided by 9 elements, which are divided into 8 groups. The minimum focusing distance is 0.36 meters, in the focal length range of 35 to 80mm. Only at 28mm the lens requires about 0.9 meters distance, from the film or sensor plane to the subject. The maximum magnification is 1 to 3.4 at 80mm. A Tamron 2x teleconverter can be used, so that the maximum magnification that can be achieved increases to 1 to 1.17. As was common at the time with the large number of lenses available, the lens does not have rounded aperture blades. The aperture can be closed in half steps. Interestingly, my Canon T90 shows f4 as the widest aperture, at all focal lengths. According to the information on the lens, at 28mm the aperture should be 3.5, instead of 4. This corresponds to half an aperture stop. So be it. With this camera, T90, I can select all aperture stops in half steps, from aperture 4 to aperture 32. The Canon T90 is still a fantastic camera these days. It offers an incredible amount of adjustment, be it in terms of metering characteristics, or exposure programs. Not to mention its built-in motor, with a transport speed of 4.5 frames per second. And as a power source, only 4 AA batteries are needed. In other videos about Tamron SP Adaptall2 lenses, I have described the special advantage of this lens series. The lenses do not have a fixed mount, but the required camera adapter to connect the lens must be purchased separately. The big advantage here is that a Tamron lens can be attached to different camera systems, using different Adaptall2 adapters, such as Canon FD, Minolta MD, Nikon F, Olympus OM, Pentax K, Canon EOS, or M42, just to name a few. All functions of the analog camera are retained. Here you can see how the Tamron SP 3.5 to 4.2 28 to 80mm with Canon Adaptall2 mount, is connected to a Canon F1n new. Using the Canon FD adapter is similar to using a Canon FD lens with a chrome ring. The Canon F1n new is also a fantastic camera from the Canon FD bayonet era. While taking the first pictures with this lens, I quickly noticed that it has an extremely high susceptibility to flare. The lens urgently needs a lens hood to avoid stray light. The original Tamron lens hood is called bayonet type 47FH. It is not screwed into the filter thread, but inserted at the bayonet mount on the outer edge of the filter thread. A well thought out solution. It is an expensive accessory, compared to the prices called for the lens. In some cases, the lens hood is more expensive than the lens. But it is convenient to use, and a lens hood is mandatory to use with this lens. Since the lens hood is made of rubber, and some of it is already 30 or more years old, I treated it with rubber care product. This agent is actually intended for the care and suppleness of car door seals, but works just as well for this Tamron rubber lens hood. Apply the compound, buff it in, and let it dry. You will notice a difference. As you can see, the filter thread rotates when focusing. This is not optimal for the use of some filter types, such as polarizers or graduated filters. After you have learned everything about the mechanical quality and the operation of the lens, the question of the optical quality of the lens naturally arises. For this, I will first show you some unprocessed RAW files that I shot with the Sony A7III. Afterwards you will see RAW files edited in Lightroom and saved as JPG. And of course, the pictures taken on Kodak Motion Picture Vision 3, 250D, must not be missing. Decide for yourself on the basis of the files and images shown, whether the performance of the lens is sufficient for you. I myself will use it more often now. The focal length of 28mm requires stopping down to f8, for increased optical performance, and f11 for excellent results, always in relation to the age of the lens. Here, at aperture 11, it yields amazingly sharp and contrasty results. Even when using the 35mm focal length, I recommend using apertures 8 or 11, when good sharpness performance is required over the entire image field, as is often desired in landscape and architectural photography. The imaging performance is slightly better than with a focal length of 28mm, although even here the lens was already convincing. The focal length of 50mm provided amazing quality, I think. Already from aperture 5.6, the lens knows how to convince. Of course, stopping down further to f8 or f11 raises the optical quality even more. A great performance, even at close range. I also find the background blur soft and pleasant. If you look closely, you can see a small jump in quality from f8, left image, to f11, right image. The focal length of 80mm delivers a very nice result in the center of the image, already from open aperture. The peripheral areas drop off considerably. Depending on the subject, however, this is not disturbing. For example, if you want to isolate a subject from the background, and place it in the center of the image or near the center. Otherwise, I also recommend f8 and f11 for convincing sharpness in the entire image field. I created an aperture series for the two focal lengths 28 and 80mm. I photographed from a tripod, and the aperture was closed by one stop in each case. Since I focused on a close point, you can also judge the bokeh well, among other things. These are also unprocessed RAW files. I would like to show you two weaknesses of the lens in pictures. As already mentioned, the lens is extremely susceptible to backlighting and light coming from the sides. At least with side light, the lens hood provides a remedy. Here is a picture without the lens hood. Unfortunately, I don't have a comparison picture, because I bought the lens hood only in the course of the shooting of this video. However, tests, without me taking a photo, have shown the extremely positive effect on the contrast behavior of the lens. The second weakness, or at least an expected disappointment, is the fact that the Tamron SP 3.5 to 4.2, 28 to 80mm doesn't show any defined sun stars. Better said, sun stars are not visible at all. Of course I show you, as it is used for my videos about lenses, still developed pictures. The RAW files were processed in Lightroom. I have added the important shooting data to the bottom left of each image. Focal length and aperture used. Afterwards you can have a look at the pictures that were taken with the Canon F1n or Canon T90 on Kodak motion picture film 250D. Here, no shooting data is available. I simply photographed a lost place as well as at the art museum in Bonn, Germany.